What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm going to be bringing you an overview video, a little bit different from my reviews, because my reviews I like to carry the knife a little bit longer and handle it. But these are on loan, first and foremost. And secondly, I'm going to be doing maintenance and mods to some of the knives that I'm going to be reviewing from Sat2 Dave. Shout out my brother. Dave, I appreciate you really. You are awesome and amazing for sending these over and letting me do what I'm going to do with these. I know that sounds mischievous as I say it, but anyway, first we're going to take a look at the Twosun TS316. What I'll be doing today is I'm going to be going over specs, size comparisons, and then I'll give you my overview thoughts and impressions of this knife. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. So the TS316 has a 3.27 inch 14C28N blade, 5-inch titanium handles, 8.27 inches overall, which I was surprised that it's so long because it is definitely all handle. Claimed weight is 6.17 ounces. For being a higher numbered Twosun, meaning that it's probably a little bit newer, that was a little surprising on that weight. I have waited to weigh it with you today to see if it really comes in at that. Yeah, so 6.2 ounces. It definitely feels like it's heavier. And we'll get into a little bit about why that might be here in just a moment. Let me do some size comparisons for you real quick so you get an idea just the size of the knife. Here's the Demko AD 20.5, a nice EDC size, very friendly size for carry. And we'll bring out the Spyderco Shaman, which is a larger knife. As you can see here, a little bit more length out on the tip versus the Shaman. So again, a little bit longer, and it is a chunky knife. So you'll see here in a minute when we do the profile comparisons. Let me go ahead and move these out of the way, and we'll bring out a couple more size comparisons just in case to help you with the size reference. Here is the Benchmade bug out. Pivot lined up here, and you can see it just dwarfs the bug out. And then we'll bring out the SIG K320. Whoa, so sorry, dropping and bumping stuff around. This one is manufactured by Hogue, and you can see the Twosun is just still longer than both these knives together. Last, we'll bring out a couple of the budget size comparison knives. I don't know why I just glitched there. First up, we're going to do the Kubi Royal KE321 is the model number on that. That's my sub 3-inch comparison. And then we'll bring out the Buck 110, which is still going to be longer. It's still going to be longer overall. So hopefully that's helped a little bit with the size comparisons. What we're going to do is profile thickness so you can get an idea just how thick or thin this knife is in hand. So against the Royal, you're going to see it's actually thicker than the Royal. I'm trying to line them up at their tallest point. And then we'll bring out the AD 20.5. And just because I'm curious, I'm actually going to bring out the SIG instead of the Shaman just to see. Oh, wow. It is almost, and this is definitely one of my more thick knives. I mean, that's close enough to where I would actually call that even almost. I mean, I think the SIG has just a little bit more thickness on it, but not by much. So thoughts on this knife. The ergos, this is a very straightforward design. It is very neutral in ergos, so it's actually quite comfortable in hand. The thickness, because it actually has not just titanium scales, but it has titanium liners, which really surprised me. You see the insert there? The lock bar on it is way down inside. You see that? How it's way down in there? The liner lock insert. I was really surprised by that. Not quite sure why they just didn't make a solid scale. I think they could have gone a little bit thinner. I think you could have made it a frame lock, or you could have had a nested liner lock if you really wanted it. The good thing about that is if you go to Gorilla Grip on this, you're not going to have to worry about pushing that lock bar over and wearing prematurely the life on that lock bar insert. Pocket clip is milled titanium on here as well. I probably should have took the sticker off for the overview. I probably will when I get to the point where I try to do a little bit of modding on this just to see how it comes out. I'm not a huge fan of this purple. It is one of the higher voltage purples that are out there, but it just, I don't know. It just looks washed out to me. I know purple's a really popular color, and I think you can do like an electric purple on this, and it's going to come out really good. And I think that's actually what I'm going to do with this one, is like an electric blue with that. I don't know what I would call it, but it's almost like a rustic gold color on that voltage. I think the combination of the two of that will come out really nicely. So we'll see. Long as it's not too hard to get this liner insert polished down, I think it'll look good. If not, it'll just be, I don't know. I don't want to give too much away, but thumb studs on here. Hold on. Thumb studs are titanium. Hardware is not. Yeah, hardware is definitely not. I wish it was. If they would have done the hardware, that would have been awesome, because then you could really go nuts with the anodizing on this one. But this knife, to me, I like the utility shape on it. It is a little bit of a thicker geometry, but it does have a tall flat grind, and it does get really thin down behind the edge. It has a tiny sharpening choil, but as you can see, it comes out, so you're going to get a smile immediately when you sharpen this one. The holes there, I can kind of sort of get it to snag the tip of my finger, but I feel like I'm also kind of using the thumb stud, if that makes any sense, for the deployment, because I'm like resting. You see my finger still kind of hitting it anyway. That hit this finger to stop. It has really good action. So I really just think I'm not quite sure. I almost wish it was either thumb hole or thumb stud, one or the other. Not 100% sure on that. I just don't know how I feel about that. I know one thing, though, when I do try to reverse it, I feel like I keep hitting my finger on that thumb stud. So let me try to, yeah, that thumb stud, it sticks out so far that I'm catching it. The thumb studs are really well done, though. I like the cone here on the tip. They're not uncomfortable at all. And I don't know, the little slots here on the edges, they actually really help with grip. I like that a lot. Lock bar access is okay. It's a little tight. I'm finding like I'm having to kind of go in at an angle and jam down on it. And like I said, the action on it is really good. It does actually feel like the pivot has backed out. So I have a little bit of side-to-side play. So the pivot's probably backed out a little bit. So when I go to do whatever it is I'm going to do, yeah, it is totally slid over. It was centered when I got it, but it has totally slid over. But this is just, I don't know the price on it. That's what I should have found, was the price. I was so busy trying to hunt down the specs from the factory on it that I didn't even look for the price. But again, a lot of titanium on here if you're into anodizing. And if you love the blade shape, I'm sure it's, probably pretty affordable. Usually the 14C28N with titanium's usually around $100 to $120. That's a pretty good price for like what I refer to as the premium budget. All in all, not bad at all. If I were looking for something that had this blade shape and I wanted something in that price point that was premium budget with the titanium, I would actually look still inside of Twosun's wheelhouse, and I would actually look at the Twosun TS316. I think it's a little bit nicer. It has a little bit more contouring on it. It has the big pivot with the pivot collar. I think it has the more interesting blade shape, I'll say that. The stone wash on it's really good versus the satin. It's an actual frame lock, which I think makes sense. It's lighter weight. And again, I think it's just a little bit more of an interesting build over top of the TS316. So that would be my recommendation. Again, for around $100, what you would start doing is you would actually come out of a titanium pocket knife and you would look at like the Conspirator from Civivi, which is around $72, full-size handle, Nitro V blade, which is a very good blade. I would say it's comparable to the 14C28N. But again, this is just the overview. It's an okay knife design. Definitely chunky. If you like a more full in-hand knife and you're on a budget. Definitely heavy though. It's definitely, you're gonna feel this one in the pocket. Anyway, if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, leave a like, consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Both help the channel tremendously, kind of gets YouTube's algorithm to recommend me to other viewers that might be watching this type of content but aren't yet subscribed. Stay tuned for what I do with this knife. I definitely do think that I can probably spruce it up, and I think with this one I am going to go with those higher voltage, more in-your-face colors for this one. I think it'll be very interesting. So I'll do the disassembly, maintenance, and cleaning will all be part of that anno video, and again, I'll make sure that I keep it very short. Thanks to all of you who have been supporting the channel. I hope all of you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.